I shot a all-time favorites video for you, and it's actually the day that my channel is starting up for real this time. If you didn't see my first video, I will link it down below so you can go and check it out. So yeah, I created this look using all my favorite products of all times that I know that work for my skin and that just work for me. Keep that in mind when you're watching this video. From now on, I'll be posting every Thursday at around 7 p.m. Italian time. And so yeah, without further blabbering, if you like to see how I created this look, then keep watching. So, hello people, let's get started. First of all, I put some lip balm on my lips because they are like the Saharan desert right now. I do not know why. I think it's because it's getting colder. I don't know. I'm putting some primer. This is the Angel Veil Skin Perfecting Primer from NYX. I think it's one of the only primers that I've actually ever liked. I feel like all my other primers that I've used have made me break out, but this one has been the only one that hasn't. So next step, we're gonna do our foundation, or I am going to do my foundation. I'll be using the L'Oreal Fit Me foundation. I have this in the shade Vanilla. This one I use on the days when I want a bit more of a coverage, like today, hence this stuff. I'll just take some of my beauty blender, and I'll usually start from the right side of my face, just tapping that in. Nothing too special. I can't stay. Then, when I'm happy with that, I go in with the L'Oreal True Match Concealer in Vanilla also. So I'm basically putting it on, I'm contouring, highlighting the high points of my face, and I am concealing any blemishes that I have, which I at the moment have a lot of. And then we're gonna go back in with the beauty blender. Then we are going to go in with some loose powder. The one I use is from Catrice. It is called Nude Illusion Loose Powder in Transparent Matte, and it's basically just a white regular loose powder. And I pick up some of that on my beauty blender, and then we are going to make sure that there is nothing in the crease of the eye. And we are going to go in with the loose powder. And that locks it. I don't like to put too much because I feel like my eye gets so dry and it does not feel light anymore. Then I'm going to put some on my chin. Basically just a bit on my T-zone and also on my laugh lines. Then I'm gonna use some Stay Matte from Rimmel. This is just a normal pressed powder. So I'm just gonna take some of that onto a powder brush. Why is this so hard to speak today? I do not remember where this brush is. Oh, it's from 6+, but I do not know what size it is. I got it from eBay, I think. I got a set for, I think it was 5 or 10 euros. It took forever to come, but really good brushes for that price. And I'm just putting a teeny bit of that all over my face. Then I'm going to take another brush from 6+, and it is a bit smaller. You can use this also for highlights. I like to use it for under my eye or on my eyelid to put the powder in there and not make it so messy and with a big brush. So I'm going to take out these ugly creases that I have in here, and I'm going to pop some in there. So next up we have the contouring and bronzing and blush and highlight. I'm going to start off with Kiko Cosmetics Radiant Fusion Baked Powder. I don't know what shade this is. Basically, I went to Kiko a long time ago and it's an Italian brand. Oh, and I'm just taking that on a 06 brush from NYX Cosmetics. And I went to Kiko, and the guy that was working there suggested this color for me as a whole face powder, and I was actually quite shocked that he did suggest that, because when I got home, I mean, at the store it looked fine, but then when I got home I was just kind of like, how did my friends let me walk around with this face the whole day? The fact that I'm using it now for contouring says a lot. So I'm just putting that on the hollows of my cheeks and on my forehead and under my chin. I always bring it upwards rather than downwards when I go on my cheeks. Next step, NYX Highlight and Contour Pro Palette. This has seen a lot of love. Now I'm going in with the lightest shade from the palette with a Morphe E4 brush. I'm going to add just a little touch of this shade over here to the hollows of my cheeks. Now I am going to get the banana shade with a Morphe M438 brush. Now I'm going to put that under my eye to highlight my under eye a little bit. Next up, I am going to use some bronzer to get a nice bronzed look. I'm using the Glam Bronze from L'Oreal in the shade Amalfi Medio number 3. This is just a regular sun powder, and I'm taking that with a Morphe 527 brush. I am just placing it on the apples of my cheeks and kind of where I also put the contour, and also on my temples. Always when all the YouTubers say like, oh, where the sun would hit, why do you know where the sun is gonna hit on your face? I guess it's the high points of my face. I have to be honest, I don't really like how this brush feels, but it does blend out the products really well. I would like it to be a bit more soft. I mean, it really feels really ticklish on my skin because it's a bit rough. For blush, I'm using my all-time favorite Cosmic Force shade from the Mineralized Blush set from MAC, and this blush is really earthy toned, and I love this blush on the days when I'm doing a bit more of a dramatic look. And I'm taking that with a NYX 0.08 brush, and I am placing that on the apples of my cheeks and just on top of my contour. And I'm kind of dragging it along my cheekbone to give a more lifted look for my face. For highlight, I actually struggled a bit choosing which one is my favorite, since this is a favorites video. The two favorites that I have are the first one is from Colourpop, and it's a shade called Flexitarian. Everything from Colourpop I actually am in love with, because everything is so creamy and it just makes me feel so good putting this stuff on, because I feel like it's not going to do any harm on my skin. I don't know if that makes any sense. Then the next one that I have is the Strobe of Genius Illuminating Palette from NYX Cosmetics, and I actually got this last week. The reason why I was having trouble choosing which one I like the best is because I've been swearing by this Colourpop one for at least a month. Last week when I got this, I was actually in love. I love how many shades it gives you, and it has a really nice variety, especially if you're doing makeup on somebody else that's maybe a different skin tone than you are. I think I am going to go with the NYX palette today, just because I think this shade is going to be too light for my bronzed look that I did today. So I am going to go in with the Strobe of Genius and a Morphe M501 brush. And I'm just going to take these two colors together on top of the excess and just contour my nose. On my nose, I like to concentrate on the very end and make a kind of like a exclamation mark. So you put some here and some here and leave a little gap here. It just makes the nose look more lifted, and it gives you kind of like a instant nose job. So to contour my nose, I am just going to go back in with my Kiko Baked Powder and a Ubu number 35 brush. So I just zoomed you guys in so you can see how I do my eyebrows and my eyes a bit better. I also forgot to clean up my contour here. I'm just going to do that quickly now using the banana shade and the Morphe M438 brush. And to not make the line so harsh, I'm just going to go in with a 6 blush brush. So for brows, I'll be using the Sephora retractable brow pencil. I have the 0.4 and the 0.2. This one I was using now during summer, this lighter one, and now I bought this one for the winter times and when I like to do my eyebrows just a bit more filled in. So I am going to just brush them through. And I will basically do the outlines first and then I will fill in the rest of them. And now I'm just basically brushing up that line that I created on the bottom upwards. I could use a small eternity during my brows. So when I'm happy with that, I usually go in with some brow gel. This one is the one also that I use on everyday basis. If I don't have time to do my brows, I usually use this guy from Essence. It's a lot like the Gimme Brow product from Benefit Cosmetics. It basically just has fibers in it and it fills in your brows and it gives them color even without you filling them in with a powder or a pencil. I'm going to start with the NYX Lid Lingerie and I'm going to take this skin tone over here with a Zoeva brush just all over the lid. After that, I'm going in with some Flower Child and some Smarty Pants from the Tartelette in Bloom palette. So I am just going to place that on the corner of my eye as a transition shade and just use a wind swiper motion. Next, I am going to take some caramel shades from the Morphe 25B palette and I'm going to take this and this guy over here. Oh, I didn't even say what brush I'm using. Good, Linda. I'm using the NYX number 16 brush for both of these steps. And just at the same spot where I placed the shades before. Now I'm going to take some Rebel from the Tartelette in Bloom palette with the same 16 brush, and this one I am just going to pat first on my outer corner of my eye and just bring slightly upwards and blend inwards in my crease. If you can see this texture here on my lid is because of my allergies. It sucks to be allergic to cats and dogs and to your boyfriend to have a cat and dog and for you to be completely obsessed about them. Next up, I am going to go in with a very similar shade as the Rebel from the Tartelette palette. This one is in the Morphe 25B that I used with the caramel shades. And I'm going to take a Morphe M441 brush for that. And again, I am just going to pat that on my outer corner of my eye. Just kind of slowly building up the depth for the eye. After that, I am taking a plum shade from the Morphe palette with a Zoeva brush that is for the crease. And I'm just going to go in the crease. And I'm just bringing a bit more of the caramel shades up into my brow bone because I ended up taking some of them off when I blended. Now to add a little teeny tiny bit more depth to the outer corner, I'm taking a dark brown shadow again from the Morphe palette. This guy over here. I actually want a bit more of that plum shade from the Morphe palette, so I'm taking it with the same NYX 16 brush and I'm just patting it on top. Next up, I'm going in with Weenie from the Super Shock Shadow Super Shock Shadow Ultra Metallic line from Colourpop. I am just taking that on a Zoeva concealer brush because I feel if you don't use your finger or a concealer brush, then you don't get as much payout as the product can give. And now I'm going in with some of these two shades blended in together. So I'm going in with that with the same Zoeva brush over the Weenie color that I put in, just to get a bit more intense glow on my eye. So, on my lower lid, I'm going to go in with the darker caramel shade from the Morphe palette on a Morphe E36 brush. Oh, done! I am going in with some Colourpop cream gel liner in the color Mr. Bing. Now, I have a little bit of a trick when it comes to curling your lashes. What I like to do is I actually do my curling in a bit of like stages kind of thing. So that would be something like this. I like to go in, I usually use two mascaras. As a first one, I use the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I'm going to cover only half of my lash, so the inner part or the beginning of my lash. Next up, I am going in with the L'Oreal Volume Million Lashes. This has been my favorite mascara for years and years and years and years and years. I've been trying to find it here in Italy, but for some reason I can't find the waterproof one. They only have the black package, which is the you know, the normal one. And now with this, I am also covering my top lashes. And now I'm putting another layer of the L'Oreal one. No! Why me? And now I am going to do my lower lashes. So that's the eyelashes done. So now I am just going to fill in my lips and then I'm done. So I'm going in with a NYX lip liner in the shade Peekaboo Neutral. Now I'm going in with my trusty Colorish from L'Oreal in the shade 630 with a NYX lip brush number 20. And on top I am just going to put, because I just want to try something new and I think I'm just gonna love this anyways, so I am going to put on some NYX Mega Shine lip gloss in the shade Tanned. So that would be the finished look. If you do like it, give me a big thumbs up and subscribe before you leave, and again hit the bell button before you leave so you can get a notification of when I post every time I do post, and you can come and see my videos as soon as they're up. I hope I will see you soon. Bye!